Comic Book Savant, Binge at Your Leisure, TV Talk. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode is a Binge at Your Leisure episode TV Talk, talking about WandaVision episode 8. And this is the penultimate episode before we get to finale in episode 9. And this episode, man, a lot was going on, but we did get some of the things that we wanted to get out of the episode. We finally get, after getting the Agatha reveal at the end of last episode, we finally get that origin story that we wanted and see how she got the pendant and why it was so vital to her within the opening sequence of the episode. Agatha's motivation seems to be gaining more knowledge of how Wanda was able to create the Westview anomaly, and I guess her creating the anomaly is what drew her to Westview in the first place, and she was able to get in, I guess, while things were going on, and I guess she felt her power, because I guess it's kind of established from what we see from the opening scene that Agatha's kind of like a succubus. He like sucks and drains power from other magical beings. I don't know if it's just witches or it could be other entities that wield magic. I would guess that's kind of, we don't know at this point, but we definitely know she can from witches from that scene. Another thing that I thought that was really great about this episode is that we get, a lot of major flashbacks into Wanda's backstory and her history and what led her to this huge outburst of power, and also how it's tied into grief and pain, and that maybe it wasn't just from the experiments that Hydra did on her that triggered her powers. She might have had them before that point, and is even so much hinted to by Agatha when she was saying about that bomb didn't go off and they were stuck in their house for like 2 days. And we had heard about that way back in Age of Ultron, which is why they had such contempt for Stark, because the bomb that bombed their house that killed their parents was a Stark Industries weapon. We had heard about it, but we actually get to see that scene play out, and we get tie-ins to why she feels, why WandaVision started the way it did with all the reenactment of all these sitcoms, because that's how she learned. That's how her and Pietro learned English, by watching these shows that the father would go out and sell these DVDs at the time. I don't know if they were bootleg or not, but he was out selling those, and then he would bring them home at whatever he didn't sell at night, and they would go back and rewatch those shows, and that's how they learned the English language, and that's how she learned about America, basically, is through watching these DVDs and VHS's tapes of early American sitcoms. So it was interesting to see that's where it came from, because I don't think we were privy to that part of her background before that point. So that was, like I said, little stuff that just layers on to her character, that gives you, her headspace and kind of some of the things she went through. My personal opinion, I don't know how other people will feel. I would have to say at this point, I feel like between Elizabeth Olsen, because really in this episode, we really just get a lot of the two main, actors we get in this episode is Elizabeth Olsen and Catherine Hahn, and they both are just outstanding throughout this episode. And I feel with this episode, Olsen might have just earned herself an Emmy nomination for this series. I honestly do. I don't think she has gotten enough credit for just being an actress in general. And I wasn't exposed to her as an actress before I saw Age of Ultron. I've seen her in a few things. Her and Jeremy Renner did what was the movie? Wind River. She was really good in that. She's really a good actress. Super heavy, serious movie, but she's phenomenal in that movie. And I think she really is getting the platform because that was like it's borderline like an indie movie, so it got critical acclaim, but it didn't do a lot in the box office. And I'm trying to remember. I think it came out somewhere between uh, uh, Infinity War and like Endgame, somewhere around there. It just kind of came. It came and went, but got a lot of critical acclaim. But I digress. I just think now she has the platform and the material to really show the world how good an actress she really is, and I think it's only going to expand with where they're going with the character and where we're going to see her next potentially coming out, or where we already know that she's going to be in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I think it's only going to get better for her as awareness coming off of this series for sure. But that's just my thoughts. I just think she's great. Um, just her range as an actor display grief, the mental and the emotional exhaustion, the anger, the determination, down to the slightest movements and mannerisms. I love like how she would like kind of turn her head like curious where she's trying to figure out something. She's about to have a moment where she's really going to unleash. She'll kind of like just give you that tilt her head to the side ever so subtly and just give you a certain look, and how she could be so calm, but then you can see the anger coming through. We've seen it displayed throughout many different points throughout the series. And I just, all those little touches in an actor's performance just really can really carry it. And she's nailed it consistently, be it comedy, be it, emotion, action. She's done it. She has stood and delivered on all fronts on that. Catherine Hahn, I feel like, is utterly chilling in her performance. I feel like she can be quite a presence in the MCU moving forward. If she makes it through the series, it remains to be seen. At this point, we have a whole nother episode to go. So it definitely will be curious, but I definitely feel like she might be around for a while. And I love that because Catherine Hahn, I know her from just being in a bunch of comedy movies. I think the one that jumps into mind is like Bad Moms. In the what was it, the car commercial she did a couple of years ago, minivan commercials. You know what I mean? And I just feel like she really sold the kind of like made that the hairs on my arm stand up a little bit. She really could do that, and I loved her. And I just made me think about this: her as a villain, her in Spider-Man Into the Multiverse as Doc Ock was so good, and it gave me those vibes. Her performance in this episode for sure. So I definitely hope she's used more going forward. If she makes it out the series, and I hope so. I hope they don't like kill her off, because they've done that with certain people, and it sucks. I hope she stays around because she will be so fun playing off different characters and popping up here and there going forward. It is interesting to see the mystical and magical side of the MCU kind of merge with, when you look at characters like a character like Agatha, Loki, Mordo, Dermon. I can't always mess his name up. Was it Dumano? Whatever the villain was in Doctor Strange. There are a lot of threats that are starting to emerge for our heroes to deal with on that mystical side of the villainous side. We haven't seen Mordo in a while, which hopefully we see in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Then, it's rumors that, Mephisto might show up, or Nightmare. It's even more stuff. So it's definitely more threats. So it's going to be a lot for Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch. And maybe we have some more magical characters emerge, coming up to help combat with these threats, because they seem like they're major and they've been unchecked until this point. We also get in this episode, we find out Director Haywood told Wanda that he was dismantling Vision's body, but we find out with the end credit scene that they rebuilt him, was trying to find a way to rebuild and control Vision to use him as a controllable weapon for Sword. So that was an interesting reveal, and we get that shot of White Vision, which is just mwah, chef's kiss, awesome. Um, Also, we have director Haywood lied to Monica, Jimmy, and Darcy about. They said he told them and all the people in the debriefing in episode 4 or 5 that Wanda had stole Vision's body, but that's not the case. He had the body all along, and he had built this White Vision. So it definitely would be. It would be interesting to see how Hayward actually acquired Vision's body in the first place, because when everything happened, they were in Wakanda. So how did Sword get Vision's body in the first place? And what? And I think that would be a big piece to show what Hayward's true intentions are. Are they nefarious, or are they well intentioned? Because there's so much that we haven't seen from this 5-year gap that we jumped in. In Endgame, where between the blips, what happened in that time frame, we just jumped ahead. But how the world changed, how did it affect Haywood, and that could have been shaping his decisions on how he's going about it, and why he sees Wanda and Vision and these superpowered beings as such a threat. So it would. I feel like that's a part of the MCU that's not being touched on right now, is that gap of that space of time and how it affected the world and how the world changed around it. But we still have more stories to tell, so it'll be interesting for sure. Let's see. It was sad seeing the one flashback and going through the memories where you see where Vision had brought the land to build a house and had started very early beginnings of building them a house in Westview. And that's what brought her to Westview, which I thought was so kind of, sad, and seeing that whole scene. And that's what led her to trigger the anomaly. She didn't just be like, I'm going to pick Westview. She was led there by the letter she got from Vision with the deed to the plot, that she goes there and she breaks down, and it just, her powers unleashed, similar to what we saw when Pietro died in Age of Ultron, and her power just exploded everywhere. Just her grief, her pain triggered her powers to unleash. But this, she's had one thing after another. So this was like the biggest trigger of her powers that we had seen. And it spread and it caused the anomaly. Really not even to her knowing, because the unleashing of her power was just so great. She didn't realize that she did all of that till she was already in it, and she got a chance to see Vision again that she had just lost, and that she was still grieving so hard for. So why would I want to turn this reality off? So definitely was a very informative, insightful episode from beginning to end. I think it is one of my favorite episodes we have so far. It's going to be really good. I'm really amped for this final episode to see, I guess, Agatha versus Wanda and Vision versus Vision. I think it's going to be an epic showdown on both sides. We got magic versus magic, science versus science, and it all clashing. But that end shot, that end credit scene of White Vision just looked so epic and evil, man. It was like, wow. And I wonder too about Agatha keeps talking to Senior Scratchy, and I was like, I feel like it's more to him than what it seems, and hopefully we find out in this last episode, because she always is petting and talking to Senior Scratchy, and I'm like, who or what is him? Mephisto? I don't know at this point. I'm just riding the wave and having fun with this show so far. For me, rating everything, acting 10 out of 10, casting 10 out of 10. The direction on this episode, I would say, was a 10 out of 10. Special effects, 9 out of 10. And the story was a 9 out of 10. So I say this is a 9.5 out of 10. Like I said, I think because I love Wanda as a character so much, I like the character beats, going back, seeing her at the different pivotal times in her life. From her perspective, I thought that was really cool how they did that, because that's what I wanted out of. I think at the end of the day, that's what I want out of all of these Disney Plus Marvel shows, is the characters that didn't have a chance to get the spotlight within the movies. In these shows, we get to learn more about them, and it expands their character. So then when we see them next time in a movie, they flesh them out more, so we can understand their motivations in their world, and what motivates them and powers them is already established, so they can have bigger parts and roles in said movies, hopefully. But we will see, I guess, soon enough. So that's what I'm glad, and I feel like we're getting so far out of the Disney Plus Marvel shows right now. And we don't have much longer after this episode. Next episode, we have a week break, and then we jump right into Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I'm so stoked for, because they're two. I think Captain America is my overall favorite franchise in the MCU. So, and I love Winter Soldier and I love Falcon. So I'm so stoked for that show. And I'm just off of this show has been everything I wanted that I didn't know I wanted, if that makes sense. And so it's just been a heck of a ride so far. So I can't wait till we get the season finale. But that's all I have for you guys for this episode. I hope you're enjoying this series as much as I am. I'm gonna, as far as what I know, I'm gonna post a poll at some point on the Facebook group, and I'll probably put it out on Twitter and some other places. I'm trying to get more active on there to let you know if you like this format. I know you're getting these episodes way after they aired, because I try to space them out, so I'm just not every week you're getting the breakdown. But if you want them sooner, let me know. You can always go to the website and at comicbooksavant.com and message me there, or just hit me up at comicbooksavant@gmail.com. Let me know what your feedback is on these episodes. Only reason why I'm doing them is that you guys suggested that you wanted me to do them when these shows started dropping. So I haven't been enjoying doing these weekly breakdowns, so I will continue to do them until you tell me you don't want me to. But again, that's all I have for you guys for this episode. I hope everyone's staying safe out there. Until next time, you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.